Will the meeting please come to order? Will all members of the council, as well as the public, please rise for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation this evening will be offered by Pastor Jonathan Hager, Flat Rock Community Church, guest of Councilmember Mike Freeman.
Let's pray. Father of mercies, creator of all good things, I pray in your Son Jesus' name. Our government leaders and administrators, bless them this evening. By your grace, show them favor and impart to them the wisdom and discernment and guidance and clarity necessary to make the vital decisions that they need to make this evening and into the future. We give thanks to you for the peace within our city. We thank you for the help of our police and our fire departments, our politicians, and our public servants. In your word, you tell us that there is no counsel. Where there is no counsel, people will fall, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. We take comfort knowing that everyone in this room has dedicated their lives to making sure this city continues to thrive and be a place of abundant opportunity, beauty, and prosperity. We think of the least of these this evening and ask that you please bring healing to those in our city who are hurting and in need, jobs for the unemployed, refuge for the homeless, peace for those living in the midst of violence, healing for those who are marginalized and forgotten, access to education for all our children, empowerment for those who are in need of a second chance, rehabilitation for those incarcerated and in recovery, and the application of your love and grace to the lost and lonely. Give each man and woman here the courage and strength necessary to execute the jobs you've called them to do. May justice reign in this place for your glory and the good of this city. We ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Without objection, we'll suspend the calling of the roll and ask the clerk to record the names of those in attendance throughout the meeting. Is there a motion for the adoption of the minutes of the April 17th meeting? Without objection, the minutes of the meeting stand as approved. Madam Clerk, are there any messages from the mayor?
No, Madam President, there are no messages from the mayor.
Thank you. So we're going to move to the proposed rules amendment. And we have an amendment to Rule 3 of the Rules of Procedure of the Metro Council. And the proposed change was to the standing committees from Parks, Library, and Recreation to Parks, Library, Arts, and Recreation. Councilmember O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam President. This proposed amendment really troubles me because it would actually create our first standing committee that lacks an Oxford comma. I don't know if it is possible to amend it on the floor, but I'd be happy to try.
Well, we're going to take a committee report first, and that will be from Councilmember Haywood.
Thank you so much, Council Lady. The proposed amendment, we ruled on it and voted to approve it.
Thank you. Mr. Jamison, would you like to address what we're going to do with this rule tonight, please?
There was a preference among council members that it actually be Parks, Library, and Art Committee. And the option there, should this body decide, is to defer this one meeting, re-refer it to the Rules Committee, and allow that version to be proposed.
Councilmember Roten.
Real quick, we were at the executive committee. I think we have a problem here because it was agreed to that the name of the committee would be the Parks, Libraries, and Arts Committee with an Oxford comma. And so I don't know what occurred between the executive committee and it being filed. So we need to kind of defer it 1 week to get it worked out. So thanks.
So there's a motion to defer. Is there a second? Is there a second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we're going to move to elections and confirmations now, and I'd like to call on Committee Chair Haywood for a report, please.
Thank you for that explanation with rule number 3, because we voted in the committee and we all voted for it, so thank you. Next, we have the CATV Special Committee. We have the elections and confirmations by the Rules Committee. We have the reappointment of Mr. Anthony Barton, a term expiring March 1st, 2021. Is it okay if I call all of them in succession for that particular?
We're going to take the vote one at a time.
One at a time. Okay, we have the reappointment of Mr. Anthony Barton, a term expiring March the 1st, 2021, and we took it to vote, and we had 5 for approval and 0 against.
Thank you. You've heard the motion for confirmation of Mr. Anthony Barton to the CATV Special Committee. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Council Lady Haywood.
CATV Special Committee, we have the reappointment of Ms. Colleen Curtis, a term expiring March the 1st, 2021. We took it to vote, and we had 5 for and 0 against, and I call for confirmation.
Thank you. You've heard the motion for confirmation of Ms. Colleen Curtis to the CATV Special Committee. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Council Lady Haywood.
Next, we have the reappointment of Ms. Robbie Melton, a term expiring March 1st of 2021. We took it to vote, and we had 5 for and 0 against, and I move for confirmation.
Thank you. You've heard the motion for confirmation of Ms. Robbie Melton for the CATV Special Committee. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Council Lady Haywood.
Next, for the CATV Special Committee, we have the reappointment of Ms. Susan Wright, a term expiring March 1st, 2021. We took it to vote. We had 5 for, 0 against, and I move for confirmation.
Thank you. You've heard the motion for confirmation of Ms. Susan Wright to the CATV Special Committee. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Council Lady Haywood.
Next, we have the Civil Service Commission, the reappointment of Mr. William H. Farmer for a term expiring March the 31st of 2023. We took it to vote, and we have 5 for and 0 against, and I call for confirmation.
I'm sorry. You've heard the motion for confirmation of Mr. William H. Farmer to the Civil Service Commission. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Council Lady Haywood, I think we skipped Mr. Mark Rowan to the CATV Special Committee. Do you have him on your list?
I do, and I apologize.
That's okay.
Reappointment of Mr. Mark Rowan, a term expiring March the 1st of 2021. I apologize. We took it to vote. We have 5 for and 0 against, and I move for confirmation.
Thank you. You've heard the motion for confirmation of Mr. Mark Rowan to the CATV Special Committee. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Now we're ready for the Planning Commission. We have the reappointment of Mr. Greg Atkins for a term expiring March 31st of 2022. We took it to vote. We have 5 for, 0 against, and I move for confirmation.
Thank you. You've heard the motion for confirmation of Mr. Greg Atkins to the Planning Commission. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Was that a no? You're fixing to get a roll call vote. Council Lady Haywood.
Thank you. Next, we have the reappointment of Ms. Jessica Farr for a term expiring March the 31st of 2022. We took it to vote, and we have 5 in favor of and 0 against, and I move for confirmation.
Thank you. You've heard the motion for confirmation of Ms. Jessica Farr to the Planning Commission. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Next, we have the Board of Zoning Appeals, the reappointment of Ms. Cynthia Chappell for a term expiring February the 26th of 2023. We took it to vote. We have 4 in favor of and 1 that was not in favor of.
Okay, you have heard the motion for confirmation of Ms. Cynthia Chappell to the Board of Zoning Appeals. All in favor? Opposed? We're going to take a roll call vote.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, would you please open the machines? Has everybody voted? Everybody's voted? Okay. It's hard to see from here. Go ahead.
21 in favor, 5 against, 4 abstentions. Motion fails.
Okay, motion fails.
It's 27 votes.
27, right? Okay, motion fails. If you would, as I call your name, if you would please stand. CATV Special Committee, Mr. Anthony Barton, Ms. Colleen Curtis, Ms. Robbie Melton, Mr. Mark Rowan, Ms. Susan Wright, Civil Service Commission, Mr. William Farmer, Planning Commission, Mr. Greg Atkins, Ms. Jessica Farr. On behalf of the entire Metro Council, we thank you for your willingness to serve and to volunteer your time and expertise. Thank you. Ms. Chappell, would somebody please call Ms. Chappell back in? So it is not a 27 vote. It is a simple majority. She is confirmed. I'm sorry. I'm going to. Berkeley went to get her. Ms. Chappell, we would like to thank you for your service, and you have been confirmed to the BZA. It's a simple majority. It's not a 27 vote. So on behalf of Metro Council and everyone in Nashville, thank you for your service. We appreciate it. Okay. Okay, we are now on bills on public hearing. So we're happy to hear from the public and want to share that you'll be given 3 minutes to share if you choose to come to the lectern to speak. We do ask that you not repeat what others have said and to please be respectful of all parties. The first item is Resolution 2018-1160, sponsor Roten, referred to Public Safety Beer and Regulated Beverages, exempts Los Chilaquiles, located at 559 Stewart's Ferry Pike, from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a beer permit. Councilmember Roten.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to open the public hearing.
Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, do you wish to speak if you're in support? Seeing none, Councilman Roten.
Move approval.
We need a committee report.
Committee report.
Councilmember O'Connell. You're on.
Yeah, I'm a little confused about that. I don't know why I'm on it. It's not my committee.
Well,
I think it was planning and public safety.
it is. I read it wrong. I apologize. Council-Lady Roberts.
Thank you, Ms. Vice Mayor. The public safety voted 5 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you. Councilman Roten.
Move approval.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1141, Councilman Glover and Hastings, changes .18 acres from RS5 to R6A zoning for property located at 511 Haynes Street. Councilman Glover.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you are in favor. Please Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one on either side, Councilman Glover.
Move approval.
Is there a second? Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Move to BL 2018-1146, Councilman Glover. Approved with conditions, disapproved without by the Planning Commission. Changes 3.0 acres from RS-15 to SP zoning for property located at 4221 Central Pike to permit an office. Councilman Glover.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Glover.
Move approval.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1147, Councilman O'Connell. Changes .83 acres from IWD to MULA zoning for property located at 909 Hawkins Street. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to open the public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move approval, please.
Second. Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1148, sponsors Glover and Hastings, changes 36.43 acres from IR, IWD, OR20, and RS5 to SP zoning for various properties located on Baptist World Center Drive, Booker Avenue, Congo Street, Cross Street, Cassia Street, Liberia Street, Lock Road, Seminary Street, and Whites Creek Pike to permit a mixed-use development. Councilman Glover.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Okay, seeing some on both sides, if you would like to come and speak on either side, we're going to line up at the lectern. We'll take those in favor and in support first. If you would, please share your name and address.
Vice Mayor, members of the council, my name is Tom White, 315 Dedrick Street. I represent the applicant in this case. This is a matter that was unanimously approved by the Planning Commission, and it's in a very important part of the community where North by Northeast has been the face of adopting a policy actually for several years. Some of the people that will follow me to the microphone are the face of North by Northeast, Jack Cawthon, Jim McLean, former chairman of the Planning Commission. But basically, it meets the policy requirements, and for a period that the staff would know, for basically at least a year and a half, there was constant dialogue in the community about adopting a new policy. That policy was adopted. My clients waited for that process to take place, and when the process finished, they began initially with a straight zone change. The staff of the planning department and some of the key people in the area, including the North by Northeast folks, wanted to talk about an SP. And so we spent any number of meetings with the planning department and in the neighborhood. Perhaps we didn't have unanimity, but we thought we were very close to it. But again, throughout the process, we've continued to reach out. I want to thank Councilman DaCosta Hastings and also Councilman Glover. We met with and talked about this particular matter. If there's some issues, obviously the bill can be amended on third and final reading, but it's totally consistent with the policy that was adopted. My clients did the appropriate thing and stayed in the queue throughout the entire process. And again, the North by Northeast group has been so active out there for a tremendous number of time, years, not actually months. They're here, they're supportive. It'll be a huge linchpin. It's basically taking a part of the county that's now primarily industrial, taking it to higher and better use, which we think is clearly in everybody's best interest. Would appreciate your courtesies in voting for this matter tonight so we can move forward. And if there are matters that need to be addressed, again, we're perfectly willing to continue to meet with people, but we've met on any number of occasions already. If a bill passes tonight, we'll address these between now and third reading. Thank you for your courtesies tonight.
Good evening. Jim McLean, 3512 Murphy Road. There's so many changes tonight as a result of the policy change that was unanimously passed back in January by the Metropolitan Planning Commission. This was a necessary policy change due to the neglect and this Trinity Haynes area that had going on for years after Opryland closed down, and the hotels there in that area along Trinity Lane and I-65 just kind of were shuttered, and a lot of unwanted guests came in. And if you think about it, this area just north of the river is as close to the state capitol as the Gulch is. And you see what's happened to the Gulch. So if this is passed tonight, this will be the forerunner of a project that will regentrify this area. And in closing, it's so close to the downtown area that we talk about the traffic. This is clearly a plus for the traffic that we're facing, the problem we're having, and the votes being taken tonight. So I ask your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and members of the council. I'm Jack Cawthon, Jack's Barbecue, and a property owner on West Trinity Lane, and also I chair the North by Northeast organization that's been out there for several years. And we've waited a long time for this land use policy change. And just to bring you up to date a little bit here, last year the community and metro planning came together and passed an amendment to the Nashville Next land use policy. The plan included an area called Haynes Trinity. Let me explain where it runs from. It runs from I-65, Bridge Church Pike, west on both sides of Trinity Lane along the Cumberland River, all the way to Clarksville Highway. This was a huge success. We had several community meetings. It took in about 750 acres that was changed from suburban to urban. This also includes the area we're talking about tonight. We're talking about two old industrial businesses that have been there for years, and they want to move, and which is great. The community wants them to move, and they want to move, but they have to have a zone change in order to sell their property. These properties are old properties, and just like the junkyard right beside Jack's Barbecue, I'm sure you've all seen that. I'm sure you've seen all the old rundown motels in the area. This is our gateway to Nashville, and we have a great opportunity to make good things happen there. These properties send the wrong message, and we want to make a change. They fall within the land use policy, and it would make the Cumberland River and River North, it would be a continuation on up the river and on around the bend in the years to come. We're setting up a land use policy that will be used for the next 10 to 20 years. Mr. White and Roy Dale, they have followed their SP according to the land use policy. I recommend that we are in favor of this zone change according to the land use policy. The land use policy protects us all in this room. Metro planning and the community came together, and we all agreed. Please vote yes.
Thank you. Anyone else in support wish to speak?
I would like to speak, Madam Chairman. Yeah. My name is Winston Michael Ray. I'm a newcomer here. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. Can everyone hear me? And, well, you know, as I look through this agenda here, I notice we do things a little different in New Orleans, where I'm from. And I notice this is regarding a lot of ordinances, zone code laws, and zoning ordinances. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Having said that, like I say, I'm new at this, and I want the city to consider zoning a new location that will be available very soon after May the 9th.
So we would love to entertain that once it's on our agenda.
Let me just finish. What we want to do is, as I left one of these flyers on all of your desks here, after we launch this marketing campaign,
Sir,
we're going
we'd
to
be
set
happy
up a
to listen
worldwide
to
movement
this.
headquarters, and we would like to.
We would love to hear that, but it has to be on the agenda, and it's not, and we're actually have the floor open for another topic. So we would love to hear from you, and we'll get somebody to get your name, and we'll get your council member in touch with you. Thank you so much for your time. Seeing no one else in support, anyone wishing to speak in opposition, please line up at the lectern. Anyone wishing to speak? If there's no one wishing to speak in opposition, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Glover.
Thank you, Madam President. As Mr. White has said, and I spoke with...
I'm sorry. Did you want to speak? Okay. Hang on, Mr. Glover. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kenyatta Tidwell. I reside at 1614 Cassia Street, and I am in direct opposition to the rezoning of this property. To my understanding, the policy actually was changed recently, and the community was not notified effectively. Not only that, but my father is actually here. The property that they're looking to rezone, the 36 acres, would include the ability to build 15-story buildings. That would be the equivalent of the Parthenon Towers, and his property touches directly to that property. Right now, our neighborhood is quite quiet, secluded. We're on a dead-end street. I've been polling all of the neighbors literally on foot today as well as Sunday. We've collected a lot of signatures and a lot of names. Hopefully you all have all received information about it. I have literature here that I can put in all of the council members' hands so that you can see exactly what we're talking about and see exactly how close the property is to our already existing neighborhood. Any rezoning that comes that includes that 15 stories or higher, anything like that, even the 7 stories would devastate this area. Already, Baptist World Center as well as Brick Church, we are already congested as far as the traffic is concerned. If they allow even one 15-story building, even a 7-story building, it would devastate our area and basically tear down the fabric of our neighborhood as it stands right now. If they were to fix the streets, it would eat the property values and the property lines of the existing neighbors. Right now, my father and my aunt, they both own their homes, and there's quite a few homeowners in that area. If we were to allow something like that, the property values would, of course, increase, but so would the property taxes. They would basically be in jeopardy of losing their homes, renters and homeowners alike, and they would take over the area, and all of the historical value, everything that was once would no longer be. So what we want to do is say, yes, we do want development, but when they did the charrette said, large story buildings on the Trinity Lane corridor, we have no problems with that, but we want to maintain the sanctity of our neighborhood as it stands right now and continue to have that seclusion as well as that family neighborhood feel, because that is what has drawn a lot of the neighbors to our area to buy the homes there. Currently, it's zoned for single family with a few industrial uses. And to my understanding, the grease processing plant, which is another issue that I am personally highly involved with, they're trying to move it further in Bordeaux or somewhere else. But the problem is we want to keep the neighborhood feel the way that it is. Of course, we do want some development to go on, but we don't want it to the point where we are literally pushing current homeowners out. So please vote no.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Corey Jenkins. I live at 2715 Whites Creek Pike. I don't live in the exact community next to where this is going to be developed, but I have canvassed with Ms. Tidwell in the neighborhood. And one of the key things that the owners said there was that there's a tremendous amount of unknown history from that area. That's part of the old Haynes manorship that was bequeathed to Mr. Haynes over 100 years ago. And many homes in that community were built in the teens, in the 20s, 1910s 1910, 1920, and they've owned those properties for that entire time. It's been a cut-off community from the rest of the traffic in that area, many dead-end streets. She lives on a dead-end street, and as it's proposed, many of those streets will be opened up to a very high-density area. Now, when we had the charrette back in the fall, most of the community, including us, agreed that we did need to change that area, that there should be increased density. But I thought we were in agreement that the high-density, high-story buildings would only be along the main corridors, not within local communities, not next to existing historical neighborhoods. So we want to see more density, and we don't mind them rezoning and putting more density in that area. But it would change the very fabric of the community that's been there over 100 years to put 15-story or even 10-story buildings there. I think that if you were looking at your particular neighborhood and you said that within 500 to 1,000 feet of your house, they were going to put 10 and 15-story buildings, you might have something to say about it. And when we were approached by email repeatedly asking for some changes, some additional buffer room, we were told they were not going to make any changes. They were unwilling to work with us. And they've said tonight that they're willing to make amendments, but so far we've been told no amendments whatsoever. So we would be glad to accept an amendment that restricts it from having 15-story buildings, but they've said no. So in light of them saying no to that, we want you to say no and look at this as something that needs to go back and talked about again, work with the community again to get what's acceptable to everyone. We want to see development, and we're happy to work with them, but they need to work with us as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Christopher Steele. I live at 1706 Cassius Street, a few doors down from her uncle. I bought my house over there about 5 years ago because it's a nice, quiet neighborhood. I've got a nice koi pond and garden in my front yard. It'll be blocked out. There will be no sun if they build a 15-story building across the lot from me. I do not want to deal with more traffic. Like they said, it gets close to the busy hours. I guess she's not hearing me.
I'm sorry.
It gets to the busy hours of traffic, and you're already backed up all the way from World Baptist on Vashti around Cowan and down the row. If you put a 15-story building there, no one will ever be able to get out of that road, nor many other roads there. The infrastructure of the roads and everything else there are not meant for that many people. I'm all for the changing the zoning to the multifamily dwellings. You know, everybody wants to do these condos, duplex, you know, all the houses in East Nashville. And I'm totally fine with that and developing the neighborhood and everything. But I also agree this is a monstrous thing being put up in a little tiny neighborhood and basically destroying everything that is the reason that you would want to live there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, hello. I am Rico Moore, the owner of house 1704 Cassius Street. I've been there for at least 5 years. It'll be June. Actually, it's a nice neighborhood, real quiet. Like I said, like they were saying, I enjoy the area. I have 3 kids. I take care of other people's kids. I'm married, just got married. And like I said, I am cool with the whatever they got going on over there. But as far as putting up big buildings and all of that, that's not going to work. They need to look back off into that and fix it, basically. Like I said, we need to just fix it, period. All right.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in opposition that wishes to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Glover.
Thank you, Madam President. As many of you know, Councilman Hastings is out of town right now on business, and so therefore he asked me to co-sign with it. He also assured me that if there was comments that were taken tonight, all of those would be relayed to him. It was approved by the Planning Commission, and so he's asked that it does be approved tonight. On second reading, amendment can be made on this at third reading, and so I would ask that we honor his request, pass tonight, and then he can meet with the community and do whatever amendments might need to be done on third reading. So with that, I renew the motion to approve, please.
We have a motion that's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, wait, sorry. Councilwoman Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just looking through the sketches and the different sub areas within there and trying to understand what's tall and what's not. And it would be helpful to me if the planning folks over there can, if there's any way to put sketches up, which there may not be, but if you can tell me of the areas that are along Cassia Street, which seem to be zoned MULA, what heights are allowed there? And where the 8-story and the 15-story structures would be allowed in the MUG and MUI. If you can just kind of talk us through what's close to what streets, that would help me.
Sure. There are 8 different zones within the SP. The Heights Zone 1 is primarily an R6A district, and that would be located on the northernmost portion of the SP. Zone 2 is a height of 7 stories in 105 feet in the Build 2 zone with a maximum of 15 stories in 150 feet. Zone 2 is on the northeastern portion at the top of the SP. Zone 3 would be all standards of RM 9A, which is essentially 3 stories. Zone 4 would be all uses of RM 20A, which I believe permits 3 to 4 stories. It's more limited, and that would Zone 4 is on the northwestern edge at the top of the property, just north of, east of Baptist World Center Drive. Zone 5, which is adjacent to Pages Branch Floodway, has a height of 7 stories and 105 feet in the Build 2 with a step back permitting up to 15 stories. Zone 6 has the same height. It is also adjacent to Pages Branch. 7 along Pages Branch has the height up to 15 stories. Some of the heights in that district, there are other standards individually within those districts along boundaries that are adjacent to different zones that only permit 4 stories. So for instance, in parts of Zone 5, 6, and 7, it is limited to 4 stories and 60 feet. And so it depends on where you are within that zone as to what the height is permitted. Zone 8 permits the standards of MUIA. And along with all of those, along with all of those bulk standards, there were also extensive conditions in regards to road improvements and traffic improvements also.
Okay, thank you. That's very helpful. I appreciate the offer to deal with suggestions because it sounds like there's still concerns, and some of it maybe just understanding where the high intensity is and what's close to the residential. So I appreciate that offer and for the information. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Bednarik.
Yes, I just wanted to qualify. I mean, I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but at the Planning Commission, when we voted to support this, we didn't hear from the community. I mean, we only had like 2 people that came speaking against this project. I think if I would have heard from the community, maybe my vote would have been different. So just keep that in mind as you take the endorsement by the Planning Commission that we had a different crowd that came to talk to us.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Vercher.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to echo some of the concerns as my other fellow colleagues. Excuse me. And what stands out to me is what some of the neighbors expressed as it relates to the lack of communication. And I hate that the lead sponsor is not here. And I don't know if Councilman Glover can address just the engagement with the community and the education with the community and the neighbors that this plan directly impacts, because this is an intense project surrounding a residential area. I don't know if Councilman Glover can articulate how many meetings that the sponsor had and just the sentiment of the neighbors from those particular meetings. I don't know if he had one, if he didn't have any, if that can be clarified, because one neighbor alluded to the fact that they were not made aware of this proposal.
Thank you, Council Lady. Council Lady Hurt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think I'd have to agree, and I'm not exactly sure if this is the exact project that I had been contacted about, but there has been quite a bit of concern in terms of communication. And I'm just wondering if it's any way that it can be a meeting with those individuals, again, before this moves to the next level, because once it gets to third reading, we will not know, because the public will not be able to speak again. And I'm sure many of them were unable to come to the planning committee meeting because of the time that it's during work hours and so forth. So I agree, and I have concerns as well with some of the comments that have been made, and would like to see there to be greater communication.
Thank you. Council Lady Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just wondering, all the information that I'm hearing on this now, and it's kind of fuzzy a little bit to me. So, and I don't know if this is the right venue to ask this now, but I'm wondering, I heard what you said, that the main sponsor requested that we do this, but with all of the folks that are asking questions and some of the unclearness, if that's a word, on this, is there any way, and I don't know if that's proper, to defer this to another time, to meet, as folks were saying before, to meet with some of the community or talk this over, or even where we can hear some more specifics from the main sponsor?
I believe that this can be referred back to the planning committee, and it could be addressed before the next vote in front of the planning committee, so we can re-refer back. If somebody wants to move that, we can re-refer.
That's what I was going to ask. Do I have to do that as a motion?
Yes, because
So-
we've closed the public hearing, so we can't continue the public hearing. Councilman Glover.
It will come to us anyway, because this was just the public hearing tonight. Will it not, Mr. Jameson?
Yes, but I think what she's suggesting is that you go ahead and move approval, but have it
Right. That's right. So, yeah, I move approval, but yes, to have it moved into planning, and the assurance from the lead sponsor, because I can't answer your questions on how many meetings. He asked me just to co-sponsor with him tonight with it, so I can't answer the question. But he gave me assurances that prior to it coming before third, if amendments or additional meetings need to take place, he will do that, okay? So, yeah, that's moved tonight. But if he needs to defer, he will do that. It will come to the planning committee before passage on the floor.
Council Lady Lee.
So I think what I was asking was, if I could make a motion now, I move to defer it to another meeting.
Mr. Jameson.
Council Lady Lee, I think Councilman Glover is contemplating an amendment to his motion to move approval, but have it re-referred to the planning committee. And that, if I understand correctly, that achieves what you would need as well.
Councilman Glover.
That's correct. But I will act upon the body. But I mean, it was approved. I know there were meetings that took place. I just can't sit here and tell you exactly to what extent, et cetera. But I do know, in speaking with the councilman, that if it needs to be deferred for additional meetings and conversations, he will do that. So with regards to it being re-referred back to the planning committee, I think it's coming to us before passage on third anyway, so I don't know that that's necessary for me to re-refer it. Is it?
Well, if we have 2 weeks, is that enough time? Is that sufficient for him to have another community
If it's
meeting?
not enough time, it's my understanding the councilman will defer it on third in order to make whatever amendments need to be made.
Council Lady Lee.
And do the meetings.
Council Lady Lee.
So this may be a point of personal of inquiry, so that what I'm hearing you say, though, then what will happen is it will be voted on tonight, and then it will be referred for the next time, but it will be voted on tonight. Second reading.
Yeah, just in second reading.
Third, okay.
Councilman Jameson.
Correct, because
Councilor
my motion
Jameson,
was to
please.
defer it.
And I don't know what your question is. I'm
Can you
sorry.
do that again? Please repeat what you said.
Because when I was asking, my motion was to refer it before it goes anyplace else. And I think what was happening is what you were saying was that it would be voted on tonight and then just referred before third reading, correct?
Yes.
I would rather it be, I'm asking if it'll be, excuse me, I'm asking if it could be referred before the second reading.
Oh, she needs to defer. She needs to move.
So you need to move to defer.
That's what I did, yes.
So you want to move to defer one meeting?
Yes.
So there's a motion to move to defer one meeting. Is there a second? All in favor? Wait, does anybody want to speak on the deferral motion that's in the queue? Okay, hang on. Council Lady Dow.
Thank you. I think DaCosta will, Councilman Hastings will handle this properly and defer it. I think a lot of people have questions. I believe what Councilor Lee was trying to get to is that if we defer it, will the people have an opportunity to come back and speak before us in a public hearing? If we defer tonight, will they have an opportunity for another public hearing?
Public hearing's closed.
Mr. Jameson.
Public hearing has been closed.
Thank you. I think that was kind of what she was getting at. Would the people have an opportunity to come back and speak to us in a public hearing setting if she defers it tonight? So I just wanted to provide some clarification on that.
Thank you. Council Lady Hurt.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. My question was, is it any way that a meeting can be held? Being referred back to planning is not going to help because those individuals will probably be at work when that meeting is held again. So I'm saying that it needs to be deferred so a meeting can take place at a time where it'll be convenient for those who have concerns to get back to Councilman Hastings and they can possibly come up with some kind of compromise and work this thing out and not, just shut it down.
Mr. Jameson.
You may therefore want to vote for the deferral, but Councilman Hastings has the wherewithal to conduct a community meeting at any point prior to final reading.
Say that again, please.
Councilman Hastings could conduct a community meeting at any time prior to third reading on this.
Right, but he can also not have a community meeting and it can go before and get approved. So to make sure that the public has an opportunity to be heard and then it comes back so we can be satisfied with making a determination on whether it's something that we would like to support or not.
I think the body could make that a condition of their support. You could communicate, for example, to Mr. Hastings that if he does not conduct a community meeting, that he will not have your support, and other council members could say the same. The community meeting mandated on this zoning bill by the charter, however, has been closed tonight.
Right, I understand the public hearing may be closed tonight, but I'm just speaking in terms of there being a meeting for the community to be heard.
And I believe that Mr. Glover and Mr. Hastings, through Mr. Glover, have shared that that's the intent. The deferral will offer them the opportunity to have that community meeting, and then he can report back to us when it comes back before us.
So we are saying, are we voting for a deferral?
Well, right now we have a deferral motion on the floor, and we're talking about that before we move to that vote. We have several other people in the queue. Council Lady Burchard, were you wanting to speak again? I'm sorry, hang on. Try it now. It just jumped on me.
Thank you, Madam President. Just because we had so many neighbors come out with their T-shirts on and to speak as it relates to this bill. Mr. Jameson, just can you articulate to the neighbors what we're actually doing in this process and moving forward with this and what that deferral actually means and their steps for continuing to engage us and their council member as this bill moves forward in the process. I just want it to be made clear to them that they will not have another opportunity to speak publicly to this body.
Sure. So the charter requires for zoning hearings, zoning ordinances, that there be a public hearing. Those are conducted on the first Tuesday of the month, such as this one, except for June. After the public hearing, it then comes back before the planning committee at the next meeting. It could be re-referred before third and final reading to that same planning committee. That committee can take, if it desires, public comments at the planning committee meeting. I also suspect that several council members here will make clear to Councilman Hastings, the chief sponsor, that before they garner his support, they will insist upon a community meeting. That is a guess, but that is my sense from the comments on the floor tonight.
You have anything else, Council Lady? Councilman Bednarik.
We will discuss this at the planning committee meeting. You're all welcome, the committee members and anybody else interested in coming to the most exciting committee in the council. We'll be talking about this project and we'll hear from you. Council Lady Hurd, you are at large. You can call a meeting if you so desire to talk about the project. You are on the committee. You can bring up the results of the conversation to the committee, and the committee can choose to do a deferral if it so chooses. So I don't think that we need to do this deferral. However, if it's the pleasure of the council, we can do that. I encourage you to take advantage of the committee setting and to discuss planning issues in the proper environment and just come up with good ways to deal with planning issues. So thank you.
Thank you. Council Lady Haywood.
I agree. I think that it would be highly unlikely that Councilman Hastings has not had any community meetings. I think that's highly improbable and unlikely. And I think that in his absence, I think he'll do the right thing. He'll have more community meetings. I don't necessarily see why we would need a deferral. Again, like you said, be referred to the planning committee, and everybody's welcome to be a part of that. And he could also have additional meetings to for everyone to be on the same page, but I will not support a deferral. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Swope.
Call the question.
There's a motion to call the question, so we're going to vote on the deferral. And all in favor, I'm sorry.
All the question, 2/3.
I'm sorry. So all in favor of calling the question? All opposed? Okay, we're going to move to the deferral. All in favor of the deferral? All opposed to the deferral? Motion fails. We're back on the bill. Councilman Glover.
I just want to assure you, once again, when I spoke to Councilman Hastings, he will meet with the community. If amendments need to be taken and done, he will. And if he needs to defer, and I think the conversation will be relayed to the councilman, what was said here tonight. And so I'm certain that he will do what he said he is going to. And if he needs to defer on third, he will. But it will be coming to the planning committee. And so, therefore, we can ask all of these questions and cover it. So, once again, I just renewed that we approve it tonight on second. He'll do community meetings, and if he needs to defer, he'll defer on third.
There's a motion been properly seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1149, sponsor Syracuse, changes 3.41 acres from AR2A to CS zoning for property located at 2400 Pennington Bend Road. Councilman Syracuse.
Thank you, Madam President. Open the public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, would anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Syracuse.
Thank you. Move approval.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1150, sponsors Allen and Sledge, amends 91.76 acres of the Belmont University institutional overlay for various properties located along Wedgwood Avenue, Ackland Avenue, Bernard Avenue, Compton Avenue, Delmar Avenue, Ashwood Avenue, Caldwell Avenue, 12th Avenue South, 14th Avenue South, 15th Avenue South, Magnolia Boulevard, and Belmont Boulevard to expand the institutional overlay boundary and update the activity zones. Councillady Allen.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councillady Allen.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move for approval with a brief explanation.
Floor is yours.
Thank you. I just want to thank Belmont University for working long and hard with the neighborhood. We requested that they give us kind of what their long-range plan is, and they've spelled it out through this institutional overlay, which is helpful. They've held a number of community meetings. They've been very responsive to a number of comments that have been received, and we're just appreciative of the good work that was done between the 3 neighborhood associations that are adjacent, and I feel like it's been a great process and that we've got a good game plan that everybody knows what's going to happen. So with that, I renew my motion for approval.
There's a motion that's been properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1152, Councilman Glover, changes 51.9 acres from RS-15 to RS-10 zoning for properties located at 4619 Hesse Road, 3375 Earhart Road, and Earhart Road unnumbered. Councilman Glover.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. If you would like to speak in support, please line up at the lectern. Please state your name and address.
Adam Sager with Dale & Associates, 516 Heather Place, Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you, council members. Appreciate your service. This rezone is located in a land use policy area that supports the rezone. It is for the growth of Nashville. It has been approved at Planning Commission unanimously, and we respectfully appreciate your vote in favor of this rezone. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, does anyone in opposition wish to speak? And I know I did that backwards.
I'm Verlin Stewart. I live at 3542 Earhart Road, and appreciate your service and your hard work. I would like you to reconsider or consider not approving this. I can see it through my bedroom window, and I'm all for development. I'm not against developing this property, but the density or the higher density going to the RS-10 is more of a spot zoning that's not consistent with anything around it. And in talking with the neighborhood next to it and people that I live next to, I don't believe there's been a community meeting to get the details out on this yet. Steve, is that right? Or?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. And with what I can hear, without having had a community meeting, there's a lot of concern that's not yet been voiced. I know there were several at the zoning meeting. I was there as well. But I think we need to look at this a little closer because it's not consistent for that area whatsoever. And the other thing is that's becoming more and more of an issue is the distance from our closest fire hall, which is a considerable distance away, and as traffic continues to increase, we are on the outskirts where until a project, before I would approve a project like this, I would highly recommend we do get a fire hall built somewhere closer to us because we just can't, you know, there's nobody there. You can't get there from the fire hall if there's any traffic whatsoever. So I would ask you to vote no tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing? Please.
My name is James Edwards. I live at 2504 Hesse Pass. My main concern is the traffic, the water runoff of the property. The density is going to be so great that they're not going to be able to absorb the water from the rainfall without putting it in the drainage ditches in the street and running into my backyard. I've complained about this before, but no one seems to care what my complaint is. The school system is overloaded out there, no fire protection out there. It's just a bad plan all the way around. It's too dense already out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Seeing none, Councilman Glover, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam President. This one I am going to defer because I want to be completely accurate. We were not able to convene a public meeting because of all the public meetings that have been taking place on the various other issues, so I am going to schedule one. We tried to schedule one. We just couldn't get a location that was going to be convenient. So I will be deferring this. I'm going to ask to defer one meeting because we're going to try and set it up within the next week or so, but I will be deferring.
So is that a motion to defer?
Yeah, I move to defer, yes. Thank you.
Having been properly moved and seconded, there's a motion to defer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Regarding BL 2018-1151, we're going to move that one to the heel. BL 2018-1153, sponsor O'Connell, changes 4.87 acres from IR to IG zoning for property located at Visco Drive unnumbered, corner of Pumping Station Road and Visco Drive. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? I declare the public hearing closed. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move approval, please.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1154, sponsor O'Connell, changes 3.92 acres from IR to IG zoning for property located at 1120 Visco Drive. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Thank you. Seeing no one in opposition, would anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to move approval, please.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1155, sponsor Lee, amends 65.1 acres of a specific plan for property located at 3839 Murfreesboro Pike to permit up to 200 single-family residential units, up to 350 multifamily residential units, and 421,500 square feet of non-residential units. Council Lady Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to open up the public hearing.
Thank you. If you're in favor, please raise your hand. Anyone in opposition, please raise your hand. Seeing no one in opposition, would anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Council Lady Lee.
I would like to move.
There's a motion to move approval with properly seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
BL 2018-1156, Councilman Syracuse, changes 2.02 acres from ON and OL to MUN zoning for properties located at 2501 Crossfield Drive and 207, 209, and 222 McGavick Pike. Councilman Syracuse.
Thank you, Madam President. Open the public hearing, please.
Thank you. If you're in support, please raise your hand. Anyone in opposition, please raise your hand. Seeing no one in opposition, would anyone in support wish to speak? Councilman, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Syracuse.
Thank you. Move approval, please.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Moving to BL 2018-1157, Councilman Syracuse amends the Metro Code to establish and preserve a 50-foot floodway buffer along the Cumberland River. Councilman Syracuse.
Thank you, Madam President. I need to defer this because it has not gone to the Planning Commission yet, and I will be also offering a substitute. So I move to defer.
Till when?
Good question. Let's see. The next
July.
July, yes. Not until July.
There's a motion to move to defer until the July public hearing. Is there a second? Seeing no one in the queue, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1158, Council Lady Lee, changes 25.2 acres from AR2A to SP zoning for property located at Maxwell Road unnumbered and a portion of property located at 4154 Murfreesboro Pike to permit 68 single-family residential lots and 24 single-family attached residential units. Council Lady Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Council Lady Lee.
Thank you. I'd like to move approval.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
What do you want to do about Scott?
We have Swope's now signed on. We can do it now or do it at the end.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move to BL 2018-1151. Sponsors Davis and Swope. Changes .17 acres from SP to R6A zoning for property located at 606 North 2nd Street. Councilman Swope.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you are in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, I declare the public hearing closed. Councilman Swope.
Move approval.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we are now going to move to consent agenda resolutions. The following resolutions are on the consent agenda. RS 2018-1163. RS 2018-1164. I'm sorry. RS 2018-1166, RS 2018-1167, RS 2018-1168, RS 2018-1169, RS 2018-1170, RS 2018-1172, RS 2018-1173, RS 2018-1174, 1175, 1176, 1177, 1178, 1181, 1182.
No.
We didn't pull that one off this list.
What about 1179?
Oh, it's on here. Okay, 1182, 1183, 1184, and 1185. Are there any other items that need to come off the consent agenda? Okay, we've got it all. Okay, if no, seeing none, I'm going to read the captions. RS 2018-1163, sponsors Hueso, Mendez, and Verter, authorizes the Metropolitan Department and Housing Agency to enter into a pilot agreement and accept payments in lieu of ad valorem taxes with respect to a multifamily housing project located at 1136 Massman Drive. Resolution 2018-1166, sponsors Vercher and Bednay, approves a grant from Tennessee Administrative Office of the Courts to the Davidson County Juvenile Court for interpreter translation services for individuals with limited English proficiency. Resolution 2018-1167, sponsor Vercher, authorizes the Metro Department of Law to compromise and settle the personal injury claims of Tank Maxwell Saunders, a minor, by Shatika Good, his mother and next friend, and Shatika Good individually against Metro government in the amount of $150,000. RS 2018-1168, sponsors Vercher, Bednay, and Roten, approves an option agreement between Metro government and Sam Oil and Marcia Morgan for the purchase of property owned by the Morgans. RS 2018-1169, sponsors Vercher, Roten, and Allen, approves a grant from the Metro Nashville Airport Authority to the Metro Parks and Recreation Department to assist in the planting of trees in Nashville. RS 2018-1170 approves amendments to the Tennessee Cooperative Agreement to benefit homeless individuals grant from the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services to the Metro Social Services Commission. RS 2018-1172 approves an intergovernmental agreement between the Tennessee Department of Transportation and the Metro Department of Public Works for the reimbursement of railroad crossing safety improvements at Centennial Boulevard Railroad Crossing. RS 2018-1173 authorizes the Department of Water and Sewer Services to enter into a facility encroachment agreement with CSX Transportation, Inc. to acquire or accept certain facilities to be built by a private party. RS 2018-1174 Sponsors Roberts, Vircher, and others. Authorizes the Department of Water and Sewer Services to enter into a facility encroachment agreement with CSX Transportation to accept certain facilities to be built by a private party. RS 2018-1175 sponsors Scott Davis, Bedney, and Elrod. Abandons existing sanitary, sewer, and water easement rights and accept fire hydrants for properties located at 710 and 701B Cleo Miller Drive. RS 2018-1176 authorizes TC Restaurant Group, LLC, to construct and install an aerial encroachment at 111 3rd Avenue South. RS 2018-1177 sponsors O'Connell, Bedney, and Elrod. Authorizes Angry Husk Holdings, LLC, to construct and install aerial encroachments at 115 2nd Avenue North. RS 2018-1178 sponsors O'Connell, Bedney, and Elrod. Authorizes 300 Broadway, LLC, to construct and install an aerial encroachment at 300 Broadway. RS 2018-1179 sponsors Haywood and Allen. Establishes a 4-hour minimum and annual continuing education and training for all members of the Metro Board of Equalization and hearing officers. RS 2018-1182 sponsors Dowell, Hastings, and others. Honors James Shaw, Jr., whose heroism, prompt action, and selfless disregard for his own safety spared numerous lives on April 22, 2018. RS 2018-1183 sponsors Van Rees, Karen Johnson, and others. Recognizes the president and founder of Nosy College of Art, Nosy Vatendust, and the 45th anniversary of Nosy College of Art. RS 2018-1184 sponsors Vircher and Karen Johnson. Recognizes the 50th anniversary of Lakeview Elementary Design Center. RS 2018-1185 sponsors Murphy, Allen, and others. Recognizes May 13, 2018 as Mother's Day in Nashville. Call on committee reports. Councilmember Mendez. Councilmember Sledge.
Thanks so much. So on Resolution 2018-1163, the Ad Hoc Affordable Housing Committee approved 5-4-0 against.
Thank you. Council Lady Vircher.
Thank you, Madam President. Budget and Finance recommended approval 10-4-0 against. I'm sorry. We're doing consent. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
The elections. RS 2018-1163, Budget and Finance recommended 10-4-0 against. RS 2018-1166 through 1169, Budget and Finance recommended approval 10-4-0 against. And RS 2018-1170, 1172, 1173, Budget and Finance recommended approval 10-4-0 against.
Thank you. Council Lady Van Rees.
Yes, Health, Hospitals, and Social Services on Resolution 1170 voted 5 for approval, 0 against. I believe that was the only one on consent. Am I correct?
I'm sorry.
Is that the only one on
It
consent?
is.
Okay.
Councilmember Roten, Parks, Library, and Recreation.
Thank you, Madam President. Parks, Library, and Recreation approved 1168 and 1169, 7 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you. Councilman Bedney.
Hello. The Planning, Zoning, and Historical Committee of the Council recommended the following for approval. 1168, 1172, 1173, 1174, 1175, 1176, 1177, and 1178.
Thank you. Councilman Elrod.
Thank you, Madam President. Public Works recommended resolutions 1172 through 1178, 8 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you. And Council Lady Haywood.
Thank you. For Resolution 1179, rules recommended.
That one's off consent.
Which one?
That one's off consent. We need 1182, 83, 84, and 85.
Okay. We recommended approval 5-0. And having said that, with all committee reports in, I move that all resolutions on the consent agenda be approved.
There's a motion for approval of all items on the consent agenda. It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we're going to go back to items that are not on the consent agenda. Bear with me here a minute. Okay, RS 2018-1158, sponsors Glover and Hastings, approves the issuance of public facility revenue improvement bonds by the Sports Authority, authorizes the pledge of revenues as security for the bonds, and authorizes an official statement to be distributed in connection with the sale of the bonds. Councilman Glover.
Thank you, Madam President. Committee reports, please.
Council Lady Vercher.
Thank you, Madam President. Budget and Finance recommended approval, 7 against, 2 for. I'm sorry, disapproval. I'm sorry. It's how you have it written, Mike.
Councilman Swope.
Codes, Fairs, Farmers Market, at the sponsor's request, deferred for one meeting, 5 for, 0 against.
And Council Lady Hurt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Conventions, Tourism, and Public Entertainment Facilities, also at the sponsor's request, voted for deferral, 3 for and 2 against.
Councilman Glover.
My understanding, Mr. Jameson, that by Rule 24, it's deferred.
Heard one time, correct.
All right, thank you.
RS 2018-1161, sponsor Sledge, Mendez, and Vercher, authorizes the Metro Development and Housing Agency to enter into a pilot agreement and accepts payments in lieu of ad valorem taxes with respect to a multifamily housing project located at 60 Leicester Avenue. Councilmember Sledge.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I'll do the first committee report here. Ad hoc affordable housing approved as substituted, and I'll move the substituted amendment, 5-4-0 against.
And Council Lady Vercher.
Thank you, Madam President. Budget and Finance recommended approval, 10 for, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilman Sledge.
Excuse me, this one wasn't substituted. Sorry, I saw Mike's confused face. So 1161 does not need to be substituted. However, I do need to suspend the rules for a late filed amendment.
Right. So there's been a motion to suspend the rules. Is there any objection? Seeing none, Councilmember Sledge.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. The amendment is purely technical, and I would ask to move the amendment.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Councilman Sledge.
And I'll move the resolution as amended.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. That takes us to 2018-1162. Sponsor Sledge, Mendez, and Vercher authorizes the Metro Development and Housing Agency to enter into a pilot agreement and accept payments in lieu of ad valorem taxes with respect to a multifamily housing project located at 310 Stanley Avenue. Councilmember Sledge.
Okay. I'll once again ask for committee reports. The first committee, ad hoc affordable housing, approved as substituted, 5-4-0 against.
And Council Lady Vercher.
Thank you, Madam President. Budget and Finance approved as substituted, 10 for, 0 against.
Councilmember Sledge.
So what I need to do is I need to move the substitute first. So I will move the substitute.
It's been properly moved and seconded. No one in the queue. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. You're on your bill substitute.
I'll need to suspend the rules again for a late filed amendment, purely technical, the same as the previous.
There's a motion to suspend the rules. Is there any objection? Seeing none, Councilmember Sledge.
Thank you. I would move the substitute as amended. Or excuse me, I'll move the amendment. Excuse me, I'll move the amendment.
They don't approve it.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I did move the substitute.
We were doing a sidebar here.
Sorry. So I do need to move the amendment now. So.
Yes. So we have a motion to move the amendment, and there's a second. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, now I'm going to move the substitute as amended with a very brief comment.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. What we're about to vote on, what we voted on previously, comprise Trevecca Towers. Trevecca Towers are about 564 units of affordable housing that sit right on the campus of Trevecca Nazarene University, right off of Murfreesboro Pike. These are some of the most affordable and, quite frankly, some of the most pivotal affordable housing we have in the city. The previous owner of this, the tax credits had expired. This could have gone to market, and I know it's difficult to talk about the crisis we didn't have, but if these properties had gone to market, we would have had a legitimate housing crisis over at Trevecca Towers. So I want to thank the Jones family for everything that they're doing to basically find a buyer. I want to thank the buyer as well, who is renewing the tax credits, putting in $25 million of improvements. And with these pilots, we will be preserving that 564 units of affordable housing. I want to thank, too, the affordable housing advocates who did speak up in favor of this, and thank all of you as well. Sometimes I know we go through a lot of work to produce new affordable housing, but preserving this affordable housing is incredibly critical, and I thank everybody for your support. With that, I renew my motion.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2018-1163, sponsors Hueso, Mendez, and Vercher, authorizes the Metro Development and Housing Agency to enter into a pilot agreement and accept payments in lieu of ad valorem taxes with respect to a multifamily housing project located at 1136 Massman Drive. Council Lady Hueso.
Thank you, Madam President. Committee reports, please.
That one was on consent. My bad.
Oh, okay.
You're off the hook. RS 2018-1164, Council Lady Vercher sponsor, appropriates $2,060,600 to certain accounts for the benefit of the Election Commission. Council Lady Vercher.
Thank you, Madam President. Budget and Finance recommended approval, 10 for, 0 against. And before I move for approval, I'd like to have a brief comment.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
No, I was talking to her. We were trying to have another sidebar up here.
Okay,
so
the floor is mine. Thank you, Madam President. Yesterday in Budget and Finance, we had the Election Commission. We also had the attorney involved in the matter as it relates to this unbudgeted request of $2 million. And I don't want to go into the historical timeline as to how we got here. We did discuss that yesterday in committee. But I think it's prudent for the viewing audience to know that the decision as it relates to putting the election on the August ballot was not a unanimous decision as it relates to from the commissioners. That vote was a 3-2 vote. There were, from my notes and from the chair of the commission yesterday, there were 2 discussions as it relates to whether or not if the election could have been absorbed and held concurrently with the already scheduled May 1 election. What many don't know is that 17 of us in this body, we did issue a statement on March 20th, not taking a position, but actually articulating that we understood on March 20th that we are facing a tight budget this year. That's how we started. We began our letter expressing our concern, not encouraging or discouraging or taking a position as it relates to the election. We just wanted to be on record for our Metro Legal to work as fast as possible as they could to come up with a decision so we could potentially meet the March 26th deadline if we wanted to have that election on May 1st. That did not happen. That's how we are here with this resolution for $2 million that was not budgeted for. And I want to go on record and say I want to thank the 2 commissioners that voted to allow or that supported the language in the law to have the election as it relates to, on the May 1, actually today, on the May 1 election. That would have saved us $2 million. So I think that should be noted for the viewing audience, that this body, we were conscious as it relates to the matter, as it relates to the special election. Now renew my motion for approval.
Thank you, Council Lady. We have some members in the queue. Councilman Rosenberg.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Council Lady Vercher, for your comments. It's really disappointing that we got to this place where we're just blowing $1 million because we had a few commissioners that couldn't read the plain language in the charter. I'd also like to thank Ms. Hirschfeld and Mr. Starling for their common sense vote on it. It's awful that we basically just lit $1 million on fire, at least. Or rather, the Election Commission lit $1 million of taxpayer money on fire. We have no choice but to approve this, but it's awful that we got here, and I hope there are some consequences at some point. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Glover?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm not going to echo some of the same things that have already been said, but I think I will repeat. We all know, and we found out today, we're heading into an extremely tight budget season. We warned of this, and we can't just be the commission on this because they got advice. They got legal advice. So I think that as we go forward, I hope that we really take our time on understanding what consequences can be and how much the additional expenses can be if it's not done properly. So with that, I appreciate you giving me the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else in the queue, motion's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2018-1165, Councilman Scott Davis. Hold that thought. Do we have somebody that signed on with it? Okay, we're going to move that one to the Hill.
It's deferred by rule anyway, so we'll come back to it at the Hill.
Okay. It's deferred by rule, but we're going to move it to the Hill anyway. RS 2018-1166, sponsors Vercher and Bedney, approves a grant from the Tennessee Administrative Office of the Courts to the Davidson County Juvenile Court for interpreter translation services for individuals with limited English proficiency. Councilor Vercher.
Madam President, was this not on consent?
Sorry, what number?
It was. It was. That's my bad. Thank you. Sorry about that, y'all. RS 2018-1171, sponsors Gilmore and Allen, authorizes the continuation of the vehicle inspection and maintenance program for motor vehicles registered in Davidson County, originally implemented to attain and maintain compliance with national ambient air quality standards. Councilor Van Rees.
The Health, Hospitals, and Social Services Committee recommended approval, 5 in favor, 0 against, with some conditions which we can speak of later.
Okay, Councilor Vercher.
Thank you, Madam President. Budget and Finance recommended approval, 9 for and 1 against.
Thank you. Councilor Van Rees.
Thank you very much. There was a lot of discussion in regard to this, and I know that there was some on the other committee as well. And one of the recommendations that we made, which was wholeheartedly embraced from the Health Department, was to put together a communication strategy to clearly indicate the situation regarding this particular issue. And I would love to hear from anyone who has any other ideas in regard to that. But basically, I think moving forward on this allows us to do that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Allen.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe we need to move for deferral based on the recommendation from the.
That's why I'm trying to.
Move for deferral.
Okay, so.
As a sponsor.
I second that.
So there is a motion to defer one meeting. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. RS 2018-1180, sponsor Councilmember Rosenberg, provides amendments to the charter of the Metropolitan Government and sets forth a brief description of each amendment to be placed upon the ballot. Councilmember Rosenberg.
Thank you, Madam President. These charter amendments do basically 3 things. They introduce a succession plan beyond the vice mayor, they enhance our special elections process, and they replace costly runoffs during certain special elections. I'll just go through each one of those really quickly. As far as succession, right now the charter does not contemplate succession beyond the vice mayor. Right now, Mayor Briley is also vice mayor, so were he to decide to move to Colorado, we would not have a mayor until somebody got elected, basically shutting down government. So this creates succession beyond the vice mayor by creating the position of president pro tem and deputy president pro tem, which are currently just creations of our rules of procedure. The outstanding questions on this are, should we elect a pro tem and deputy pro tem at the start of the term for the whole term if they're coming from this, or should we elect a new president pro tem and deputy immediately upon a vacancy in the presiding officer? So that's a couple matters we'll have to go through. On the special election, it basically codifies clearly the Supreme Court's unanimous ruling on special elections. The amendment that, as proposed, tries to balance the cost, the unshakable position that metro elections need to be independent of partisan elections, and the importance of having democratically elected representation as quickly as possible. So what it does is it shortens the period that a council seat can stay vacant to 6 months. The reasons are that there's no successor. There's nobody who can handle these things. There's no local representation for those folks on countywide issues while there's a vacancy. There's nobody to speak to issues that have majority support in the district. And the cost of a district special election is only $45,000 on average, which is a small price to pay for democracy. It leaves the mayor's maximum time of vacancy at 12 months. The reason is because there is a successor who's already getting into that position by charter, who has won an election countywide. Special elections countywide are very expensive, as we just saw, and that creates stability in that office. For vice mayor, it's set at 24 months right now in this amendment. That's just an attempt to balance cost, the nonpartisanship, and elected representation, but I'm looking forward to everyone's input on that especially. And it changes at-large seats to remain vacant until the next election. Again, that's just an attempt to balance the high cost.
Councilwoman Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate all the work that Councilmember Rosenberg has put into this, and I've offered a couple of amendments which have been discussed by the Charter Revision Committee, so I hope we'll continue to have that discussion. And one that I hope that all council members will give serious consideration to is the effect of the special elections, which clearly the $1 million extra cost is huge, and to me is something that we would want to avoid if we can, if there is another general election coming up in a reasonable amount of time. The current the ruling from the Supreme Court has currently said that we can only count the every 4-year general election as our general election because of the way the charter currently addresses it. I would like to throw out the possibility of perhaps cleaning up that language if we decide that it is to the benefit of the people who are electing this mayor to have more time than 75 days, which is what's allowed by a special election. So I would just encourage additional discussion on that one piece of it. I feel that's very important to think through if that short time period is necessarily in the best interest of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Henderson.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to yield my time to Councilman Rosenberg, please.
Thank you. Councilmember Rosenberg.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Council Lady. So just getting back to where I was. Again, the at-large would remain vacant. That's because they have no location-specific issues. We've got 4 more at-larges, and it's $1 million to run an election there. The questions on this are, should the vice mayor, or some ideas that we've discussed, are should the vice mayor be required to resign if he or she qualifies for the mayoral ballot in a special election? And if he or she is required to do so and does so, should we then have a concurrent special election for vice mayor to get both of those taken care of in one shot and save that money? Or should we not have mayoral special elections at all and let the vice mayor complete the term like we do with governor and president? And then the other piece is instant runoff voting, which upgrades from runoff to instant runoff voting for a very limited number of elections, just special elections for vice mayor and council member, district council member. I know some of y'all are familiar with it based on the really positive feedback. And I can get into this a little bit more, but we're going to, the chair of the Charter Revision Committee, Council Lady Blaylock, has expressed a desire to have another meeting on this next week before the Charter Revision Commission meets next Thursday. So we're going to have a lot more conversation on this moving forward. Just want to make you all aware of what we're doing, and I'd like to move to defer one meeting, please.
There's a motion to defer one meeting. Council Lady Henderson, are you wanting to be recognized? It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor of a one meeting deferral? Opposed? Motion passes. RS 2018-1181. Council Lady Haywood approves the election of notaries public for Davidson County. Council Lady Haywood.
Yes, we voted 5, 4, and 0 against to approve this particular bill.
Is there an amendment?
Yes, there is an amendment, and you're going to address the amendment. That's not that one? Okay, no, there's not. I don't think there's an amendment. There is an amendment? Okay, do I move the amendment?
Yes,
Okay.
please move the amendment.
Okay, I would like to move the amendment. I apologize.
Mr. Jamison, would you please read?
Review it.
It adds an individual, I believe his name is James Steinhaus, who was inadvertently
Okay.
omitted from the notaries.
Thank you.
Thank you. So
So I move for
we're going to move
approval.
the amendment. It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor? Councilman Sledger, you wishing to be recognized?
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Jameson and Vice Mayor.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Now we're going to move it as amended. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, we're going to go back.
No, we're good.
No, we don't have to? Okay. All right, we are now on bills on first reading. If there's no objection, we're going to consider all ordinances on first reading in one vote at this time. Is there a motion to adopt all items? Having been moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. We'll go on to bills on second reading. BL 2016-287, sponsors Haywood, changes 2.47 acres from AR2A and CS and 15.6 acres to SP zoning to permit heavy equipment sales and repair and all uses permitted by the CS zoning district except alternative financial services uses, non-residential drug treatment facilities, a bar or nightclub, and pawn shops and clubs, and 1.43 acres from CS zoning to AR2A zoning for property located at 7435 Old Hickory Boulevard. Council Lady Haywood.
Yes, I make a motion to move the amendment, of which Brandon is going to have a word regarding the amendment.
We need a committee report first. Councilman
Committee
Bednaik.
report?
Councilman Bednaik. Committee report.
Yeah, plan is only. He's going to do the committee report. Coming.
I blame Councilmember Hager for distracting me. Which one is this one?
287, 2016-287.
Oh, yeah, this is Council Lady Haywood. Well, unfortunately, we had to defer by rule one meeting.
Which rule? 29?
What rule? The rule, that what?
Say yes.
Yes.
29.
29.
Council Lady Haywood.
Okay. Move the amendment. Would you have, okay.
You need
I'd
to
like
suspend the rules.
Yeah, I don't want to suspend the rules. I would like to defer for one meeting.
There's a motion to defer for one meeting. All in
Yes.
favor? Opposed? Motion passes. What was deferred by rule anyway. BL
Thank you.
2018-1056, Council Lady Allen amends the Metro Zoning Code pertaining to online marketplace of short-term rental properties. Council Lady Allen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to defer one meeting.
We need to get a committee report.
Committee
Councilman
reports,
Swope.
please.
Codes, Fairs, and Farmers Market, at the sponsor's request, deferred for one meeting, 5-4, 0 against.
There's a motion to defer one meeting. It's been properly moved and seconded. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
BL 2018-1159, sponsors Murphy, Roberts, and others, amends the Metro Code to restrict the retail sale of dogs and cats at pet stores. Council Lady Murphy.
Committee reports, please.
Council Lady Van Rees.
Well, hi there. The Health and Hospitals Committee recommended for approval, 5 in favor, 0 against.
Councilor Murphy.
Thank you. I'd like to move for approval with a brief explanation.
The floor is yours.
Basically, this legislation came to me through a discussion with a friend over our family pet, Bella, who we bought when I was in high school, or adopted rather, at the Humane Society. Bella is now 18 and hopefully will make it to third reading on this. It's touch and go sometimes, but she hangs in there and it's tough. Basically, this legislation is doing a number of things. It's touching on consumer protection, it's touching on our homeless pet population, and it's touching on the health and welfare of our families and the animals that we adopt and bring home and incorporate into our family. And so I'm not going to go into too many details because I handed out to all of you, and if I didn't reach you, I've got extra handouts about this legislation and some information about it. This legislation will still allow Nashvillians to buy directly from breeders, but it will not allow Nashvillians to buy from pet stores that buy from puppy mills. So we have called it #No Puppies for Profit. In the legislation, you'll see that it's pretty well defined where you can adopt animals, still from rescues, still from nonprofits, still from stores that are associated with nonprofits and that type of thing. I know that some of you may have received an email tonight discussing some breeder standards, and I'm going to direct you to that handout that I gave you tonight, and I've reached out to that person to see if they have further questions. But again, at the end of the day, here in Nashville, we are fortunate to not have any pet stores that are currently selling puppies from puppy mills, and so this will not impact any current businesses here in Nashville. So with that explanation, I request your support and move for approval.
Popularly referred to as Bella's Law.
Sure. Amendment from the floor.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1160, sponsors Hurt and O'Connell, provides for the designation of public property within specified areas of downtown Nashville as a temporary special event zone during the time period beginning at 6:00 a.m. on June 6, 2018, and ending at midnight on June 11, 2018, in conjunction with the 2018 CMA Fest and related activities and events. Councilor Hurt.
Committee reports that the Conventions, Tourism, and Public Entertainment Facilities voted for, 5, and 0 against.
I believe there's a proposed amendment.
Correct.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry about that. There was a proposed amendment, and the committee, I guess I should move for the amendment.
There's a motion to move the amendment, having been properly moved and seconded. Seeing no one in the queue, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. You're
Thank
back on your
you.
bill.
Now I need to move for approval of the passage of the bill itself.
So we're going to move the bill as amended. Is there a second? Seeing no one in the queue, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
BL 2018-1161, sponsors Syracuse, Bircher, and others, approves an agreement between Metro Government and Plaza 2750 LLC for use as the site for a new public library branch and construction of related infrastructure improvements in Donaldson. Councilman Syracuse.
Thank you, Madam President. Committee reports, please.
Councilor Bircher.
Budget and Finance recommended approval, 10-4, 0 against.
Councilman Roten.
Parks, Libraries, and Recreation approved, 7 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilman Bednay.
The Planning Committee recommended approval and congratulated the council member on this rezone.
Thank you, Councilman Syracuse. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam President. Move approval. I will save my comments for third reading. Thank you.
Thank you. Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1162, sponsors Lee, Bednay, and Elrod, abandons an existing pump station and sanitary sewer force main, and to accept new water and sanitary sewer mains, sanitary manholes, fire hydrants, and easements for property located at 0 Pinhook Road. Council Lady Lee.
Thank you. I would like to move for approval.
We need to get committee reports. Councilman Bednate.
The Planning Committee recommended approval, 10-4-0 against.
Thank you. Councilman Elrod.
Public Works recommended approval, 8 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you, Councilman Elrod. Council Lady Lee.
Thank you. Then I ask for approval.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
BL 2018-1163, sponsors O'Connell, Bednay, and Elrod, abandons existing sewer main and easement and to accept new sewer main, sanitary manholes, a fire hydrant, and easements for property located at 710 DeMumbrum Street. Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to request committee reports, please.
Thank you. Councilman Bednay.
The committee recommended approval, 9-4-0 against, and I have to apologize because we failed to congratulate Councilmember O'Connell on this.
Councilman Elrod.
Public Works recommended approval, 8 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman O'Connell.
I'm really just humbled by Councilman Bednay's and the chair's remarks here. This is a fantastic abandonment. And I would like to move approval, please.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes without fireworks. BL 2018-1164, sponsors Bednay and Elrod, abandons existing easement and easement rights for property located at 4411 Michigan Avenue. Councilman Bednay.
Committee report?
You want to give me a committee report?
Yes, ma'am. I didn't want to jump the gun. The committee recommended approval, 10-4-0 against.
Councilman Elrod.
Public Works recommended approval, 8 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you. Council Lady Roberts, you want to be recorded as abstaining? Okay, we're going to need to do a roll call vote. This abandons existing easement and easement rights for that property at 4411 Michigan Avenue. Seeing no one in the queue, Madam Clerk, would you please open the machine? When somebody abstains on third, you have to have a roll call vote. So stay tuned. I'm sorry, either second or third.
Correct.
I can't open it.
Don't speak in favor of it.
You had told me you were abstaining.
I am asking.
Don't ask. You're abstaining for a reason. She has a conflict. She can't be advocating.
Has everyone voted? Has everyone voted? If you haven't voted, please vote. Madam Clerk, if everybody's voted, would you please close the machines and tally the vote?
Okay. 27 in favor, none against, 2 abstentions.
Motion passes. BL 2018-1165, sponsors Roberts, Bednay, and Elrod, abandons existing water main and easement and to accept new water main, fire hydrants, and easements for property located near 6006 B Hill Circle and a portion of Marcia Avenue. Council Lady Roberts.
Thank you, Madam President. Committee reports, please.
Councilman Bednay.
The committee recommended approval and also congratulated Council Lady Roberts on this abandonment.
This was a huge moment for all of us. Thank you.
Councilman Elrod.
Public Works recommend approval, 8 in favor, 0 against.
Council Lady Roberts.
I'd like to move for approval.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1166, sponsors Withers, Bednay, and Elrod, abandons existing sewer mains and easement and to accept new sewer mains, sanitary sewer manholes, and any associated easements for property located at 711 Gallatin Avenue. Councilman Bednay. I'm sorry, Councilman Withers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could I get committee reports, please?
Councilman Bednick.
I'm delighted to do that. The committee recommended approval, 10-4-0 against.
Councilman Elrod.
Public Works recommended approval, 8 in favor, 0 against.
Councilman Withers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval with a brief comment.
Floor is yours.
This is a utility matter pertaining to the renovation, which is already underway at the Eastland Kroger store at the corner of Eastland and Gallatin. I know a lot of our neighbors are really excited about that. Appreciate the planning staff's working with myself and the property owners and the team to review that site plan as part of the PUD review. And for those who are curious for a preview of what the store might look like, you are welcome to come out to the Chamber East meeting that will be taking place tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the East Police Precinct. We will have representatives from Kroger who will be joining me at that meeting, which I'm sure will be quite lively. But I apologize that I was not present for the announcements and wanted to announce that at that time and appreciate everyone's patience right now. But with that, I would like to renew my motion to approve.
Having been properly moved and seconded, seeing no one in the queue, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1167, sponsors Freeman, Bedney, and Elrod, abandons portions of alley number 1897 right-of-way. Councilman Freeman.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Councilman Bedney.
The committee recommended approval, 10-4-0 against.
But did you congratulate him?
No, we failed to do that. We didn't thought this abandonment rise to the level to receive one.
Thank you. Councilman Elrod.
Public Works recommended approval, 8 in favor, 0 against.
Thank you. Councilman Hager.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Traffic and parking approved, 5-4-0 against.
Councilman Freeman.
Thank you. I just move for approval.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Moves to bills on third reading. BL 2017-1040, sponsors Lee, changes 20.9 acres from AR2A to SP zoning for property located at 3461 Hamilton Church Road to permit 158 residential units. Council Lady Lee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to ask, I would like to move for approval.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1111, sponsors Glover, amends the Metro Code regarding the Board of Ethical Conduct and the Standards of Conduct. Councilman Glover.
Thank you, Madam President. With all committee reports in, I move approval.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1124, sponsors Hurt, amends the adopted building codes regarding public bathroom facilities. Council Lady Hurt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to withdraw with a brief explanation.
Floor is yours.
As well intended as this bill is, we found from the financial analysis that it's just entirely too expensive to provide. And we'd just like to withdraw. It's well intended, but just not the right time, knowing the budget restraints that we have.
Thank you. BL 2018-1143, sponsors Mina Johnson, Murphy, and others, approves an agreement between the Tennessee Department of Transportation, City of Belmead, CSX Transportation, the Department of Public Works for payment to CSXT for costs incurred during the construction phase of the bridge rehabilitation project at the Hillwood Boulevard Bridge over CSX Transportation Railroad Crossing in Richland Creek. Council Lady Mina Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. May I request committee report, please?
Council Lady Vercher.
Thank you, Madam President. Budget and Finance recommended approval, 10-4, 0 against.
Council Lady Mina Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I would like to move for approval, please.
Is there a second? Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1144, sponsors Vercher, Bedney, and Elrod, authorizes the granting of temporary and permanent easements to the Tennessee Department of Transportation for certain properties owned by the Metro government. Council Lady Vercher.
Thank you, Madam President. With all committee reports in, I move for approval.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. BL 2018-1145, sponsor Sledge, Bednay, and Elrod, abandons existing easement rights for a portion of property located at 700 Hamilton Avenue. Councilman Sledge.
All committee reports in. Many people are saying that this abandonment is the greatest abandonment they've ever seen, and I move approval.
Having been properly moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Before we adjourn, I'd like everybody to stand up and give Councilman Elrod a big, huge round of applause for all his hard work on transit. Do I hear a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Opposed? Motion's adjourned. Meeting's adjourned. Arg.